You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk, or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Floors often host pesky germs and allergens, which is why they want to help you take your spring cleaning to the next level with Shaw Luxury Vinyl Plank Floors. Waterproof, scratch-proof, and spring clean-approved flooring, perfect for keeping your home crisp, clean, and beautiful this spring. Visit Mill Creek Carpet and Tile at their Stillwater location for an in-home measure and design consultation on the house.
Star OU running back and NFL player Samaje Perine understands competition and what it takes to be the best. And that's exactly what he found when he shopped at Diamonds Direct, thanks to a recommendation from other NFL players.
I've heard from coaches and players and even peers that Diamonds Direct is the best place to go to if you're looking for a ring. The customer service is bar none. They made it extremely comfortable and extremely simple because I know absolutely nothing about jewelry. They were extremely helpful and they broke things down to the very basic. It made it, enjoyable.
But it wasn't just the experience that impressed Samaje. The no middleman pricing blew him away.
We got a very good bargain for, what we went in for. I feel like we didn't pay him enough, but but I'll take it anytime.
Oh, but he'll be back to spend more and get that unmatched pricing.
Diamonds Direct is going to be in our lives a lot from here on out. If you're a fan of mine and you're looking for an engagement ring for a great value, Diamonds Direct would be the definite place to go.
Diamonds Direct on North Penn across from Penn Square Mall.
Hello, everybody. Bo Newsom along with Mad Max and his daughter Alicia. It's Max Madness going on now at Automax Hyundai in Norman. Tell them all about it, Max.
Check it out. Over 50,000 square foot of showroom.
That's a half a mile of cars, Dad.
How about a brand new 2018 Kona with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty for only $17,898. You heard it right, folks. $17,898 on a brand new sport utility. Give them another example.
Or look at this 2019 Santa Fe SE. Take $4,500 off or with a payment as low as $239 a month. All this madness going on during the Spring Fever sales event only at Automax Hyundai of Norman. Or check us out online at AutomaxHyundaiNorman.com. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty plus Hyundai Assurance.
2018 Hyundai Kona, stock number HN10776, sale price $17,800, with 20% cash down. 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe, stock number Y14985, sale price $22,400, with 25% cash down, or trade at 4.24% financing, 44 months with good credit, all rebates pending.
The deals are automatic at Automax.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics when you fill at a preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
Anything good come in the mail today, hon?
Yeah, our home insurance went up $300 more this year.
What? We haven't made a claim in 5 years. I do not understand why we have to pay so much for insurance we never use.
I'll start calling all the agents in town again.
Hi, I'm Blake Whimsy, president of Foundation Insurance. If you're tired of feeling like you're paying too much for home, auto, life, or business insurance, I'd like to invite you to try my agency. Foundation Insurance is an independent agency located in Guthrie, but we serve the entire state of Oklahoma. We represent 6 different insurance companies for home insurance and 8 companies for auto insurance, so we do the shopping on your behalf. We promise to find you the best deal possible without cutting your coverage, and if we can't, we'll be honest with you and advise you to keep the policy you've got for now. Call us today at 405-293-9355 or go online at foundationinsurance.net. That's 405-293-9355. We'd love the opportunity to serve you.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the buy one, get one free paint sale at Ace, our biggest paint sale of the year. Buy a gallon of our top paint brands like Valspar and Clark & Kensington and get the second free. And you know what else is free? Our help. With the Ace Extra Mile Promise, get everything you need to paint in one trip or deliveries free. Don't miss the buy one, get one free paint sale. Now through Monday, only at Ace. Limit 2, delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more details.
Star OU running back and NFL player Samaje Perine understands competition and what it takes to be the best. And that's exactly what he found when he shopped at Diamonds Direct, thanks to a recommendation from other NFL players.
I've heard from coaches and players and even peers that Diamonds Direct is the best place to go to if you're looking for a ring. The customer service is bar none. They made it extremely comfortable and extremely simple because I know absolutely nothing about jewelry. They're extremely helpful and they broke things down to the very basic. It made it, enjoyable.
But it wasn't just the experience that impressed Samaje. The no middleman pricing blew him away.
We got a very good bargain for, what we went in for. I feel like we didn't pay him enough, but I'll take it anytime.
Oh, but he'll be back to spend more and get that unmatched pricing.
Diamonds Direct is going to be in our lives a lot from here on out. If you're a fan of mine and you're looking for an engagement ring for a great value, Diamonds Direct would be the definite place to go.
Diamonds Direct on North Penn across from Penn Square Mall.
Hi, your CPA here. Did you know members of the Oklahoma Society of CPAs have been Oklahoma's trusted financial advisor since 1918? Yeah, we go way back, like more than 100 years back. We're qualified to deliver thorough financial advice year-round that goes beyond taxes. So whether you're expanding your business, buying your first home, or maximizing your investments, we're the people to call. Find your CPA today at findyourcpa.com.
Park at West Point, located in Yukon, is a place you can call home. We have everything you could possibly want in a luxurious apartment. Pools, indoor and outdoor fireplace, dog park, 24-hour fitness, and business area. Whatever it is you need, we've got this. Hashtag Case We Got This. So come check us out. See what we have to offer you. Call today 345-6139 or stop into Park at West Point, located at 301 Point Parkway Boulevard in Yukon.
Are you ready for FlexStack Advanced? Men, welcome to the show. It's a winner take all. Who will have the strength? Who will have the drive? Who will win the battle? Well, the answer just might be who uses the new most advanced FlexStack ever. Only found at Draper Family GNC. Packed with clinically tested test effect, shown to raise your free testosterone, giving you raw power, extra energy, and helping you burn off that stubborn body fat. The new formula has two newcomers to the show, Black Maca, which just might give you that libido boost you've been looking for, and Boron Citrate, a scientifically studied ingredient to help you power through the day, shooting up your testosterone while suppressing that nasty estrogen. Men, it's time to win the game. Get to Draper Family GNC and get started today with our new and strongest ever FlexStack Advanced.
Visit the newest Northside Edmond GNC at the corner of 2nd and Bryant, or visit the two Southside stores along I-35, one in Moore at 19th Street and one in Norman at Robinson in front of the new Crest.
KOKC, Talk Radio's new generation. It's time to rise above.
I struggled with addiction for many years, and the initial surrender, hey, I give up, that rock bottom. Everybody has different points in their life. Whatever gets you there, whatever gets you to the room, you burn your seat.
You're listening to Rise Above Radio.
My daughter is amazing when she's not on drugs or alcohol. I mean, you can't imagine how beautiful and talented and loving and giving. I wish everybody listening would understand it's not the person. It truly is the drugs and alcohol that takes away everything that's good and beautiful.
There's addicts out there that need help, and I just feel bad for the people that don't have the support system that we have. Got to reach out. Just got to reach out and take a chance.
I just want to speak to the fact that what you're doing here with this radio station, and I promise you, right now, there is somebody listening because of your efforts and what you're doing. You're saving their lives.
I want them to know I thank them from the bottom of my heart for giving me my son his life back. Do not stop. There's more lives that needs to be saved.
Be a part of Rise Above Radio at 405-478-1520
and 1-866-530-5662. This is Rise Above Radio on KOKC.
All right, welcome into the show. Facebook Live, KOKC Radio. You can check it out as well. Leave your comments and join the show. 405-478-1520. Crystal Henry's in studio along with Nicholas. And Crystal, you and I were talking about how sometimes we just feel like the devil just tries to get under our skin on a Saturday. For me, when I do the show, because he knows he's not a fan of mine. I'm totally cool with that, man. The devil can go kick rocks.
Right.
So, running late to get here and then all kinds of stuff. I got Harry's headphones, and I must be deaf, dude. He could hear them coming out. So anyway, we'll make this happen. But thank you to Crystal Henry and Nicholas. What's your last name, brother? Hoyd. For coming in. And we've got Drew Hicks on the phone. Drew's calling in from Florida, man. Drew is with Boca Recovery. And, brother, this is the first time you and I have had the chance to chat. Thanks for coming in on the show. We talked about you being a guest a while back, but you're a busy dude, man. How are you?
I'm well. I'm actually in Indiana right now.
Indiana. All right, well, Boca's in Florida. Is that correct then?
Yeah, my facility's in South Florida, in Boca Raton.
Right on. And, dude, tell us about the big day you had yesterday, I think it was, or on Thursday. You had some...
man.
Yeah,
It was huge, you know, with only with the grace of God, you know, was anything like this ever to happen for me in my life. You know, one of the last big, huge obstacle I had to get through, you know, with my recovery, and, you know, that would kind of put me in that smooth sailing mentality was acquiring my sons back into my life, you know. And I went to court yesterday, and the judge said that would be okay. Yeah. And so I'm working on, you know, I've got to go through some counseling because it's been a very long time since I've been part of their life. And but it took many years to get into this point. And like I said, without God, my higher power, whom I choose to call my higher power, you know, I'm in a position to be able to provide a good life for them and the love and the nourishment that they need.
Awesome, man. That's outstanding. So let's jump right into it, though. What's your story, man? Who's Drew Hicks? Who were you and who are you now?
Okay, well, Drew Hicks is the grateful recovering addict, first and foremost. You know, my sobriety date is February 26, 2016. I just celebrated 3 years.
Wow, man, nice.
That's amazing. You know, my story, it starts back in California, brother. I was born in California. You know, I don't remember much of California. I just know that I was born there. We left there when I was relatively young. I was about 4 years old. And I had an older brother, you know, that was with me, and my father was very abusive to my mother, and she got out of that situation when I was 4. Like I said, I was young, and she picked me and my brother up, and she moved out to, well, our destination was Indiana, okay, but it didn't work out that way. We kind of made a detour over into Idaho, a friend of hers, and my mother ended up staying there for a while, ended up getting pregnant with my little brother, and then again, my mom had a habit of attaching to toxic men, and he was very abusive as well. And we picked up and, you know, headed back to Indiana. I mean, our original destination was Indiana. So we landed in Indiana when I was about 4.5, 5 years old. Relatively early into my landing here in Indiana, I was hurt. My mother was in a house, you know, getting high with a friend, and it left me and my brothers in a car. And we managed to get the car back in the 70s. You know, I'm 45. Back in the 70s, vehicles weren't as safety as they are today, and we managed to get the car into a neutral, and we rolled down a hill, and ended the car rolled over me, and I was hurt pretty bad.
Oh,
and,
man.
We were taken away from our biological mother when I was about 5 years old and placed into foster care. We lived in foster care for about 4 years, you know. And well, I don't have one of those war stories when it comes to foster care. My foster parents were absolutely the best people that walked the planet. You know, they were very loving. I had 3 older sisters and then 1 older brother that I acquired that they had already had on their own. And so me and my 2 brothers, well, we were in foster care. They didn't, and that's another blessing. They didn't split us up. They kept us all together.
Oh, right. Yeah, you know? Yeah.
And so they kept us together. We stayed there, you know, in this amazing, you know, church-going, loving family. You know, it was the all-American family, you know, and I loved it, and I got very comfortable with it, you know. So 4 years into it, I didn't even think about being part of a foster kid. I just thought I was part of that family, you know. But we were still available for adoption, and this family from Indianapolis, Indiana, had raised their kids. They don't raise their kids. And they were willing to raise. They were trying to do it again.
Right.
They wanted to adopt all 3 of me and my 2 brothers, and they're very well off, very rich family. And so it seemed like it was going to be like a fairy tale ending for Drew and his brothers.
Sure.
So you know, the day, and this is where it's crazy, brother. You know, the day that we went to court and the adoption was finalized. The very next day after that, because we moved into this house, this really big mansion type house down in Indianapolis. Thought my life was just smooth sailing, man. And then the very next day, he left. He's a businessman. He left. He was never around. He was maybe home 2 days out of the month. She was the one that was always home. And she straight flipped the script, man. She went straight from Jekyll to Hyde. I mean, this is we ended up being in this house for about 2.5 years. Before it all came to crashing down. And literally, in that 2.5 years, I broke 27 bones.
Dang, man.
By her hand. By her beating me, by her, she beat my brother. She would lock us in our rooms for 4 or 5 days at a time, feed us under the door. She would shock my brothers while he was sleeping, throw water on us, electricity. It was, and it was very, very abusive. But the only thing that really screws me up the most about this whole situation was I was the only one that was sexually molested out of me and my brothers by her. And I kind of think, you know what, that's not a bad thing. At least my brothers didn't have to go through that because, a lot of this abuse, and I don't justify my actions today because I'm not that man. But I know at that young of an age, I buried all that stuff. I didn't want to deal with it. It's not easy for a boy or a man to talk about being molested. And so what I did is the next best thing. What we always do is we bury that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Did you have a lot of?
Don't want to talk about.
Did you have a lot of animosity? Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I was 10 years old when it came to light because I went to school and my teacher went to grab a hold of my arm and she grabbed me and I was bruised literally from the back of my neck to my ankles. And she called the cops immediately. So the teacher blew the whistle on her and they came in and threatened to charge her, blah, blah, blah. But then again, brother, she was very rich. And unfortunately, with money, you can buy yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate, dude. Politics are, unfortunately, in everything, and money is the root of all greed. You're right, man. Money talks.
Yeah, and so she did, and that's exactly what she did. But they took us out of that house and put us back into the foster care family that we left originally. And as soon as we landed at the foster care family, they immediately said, no more of this crap. We're adopting you. Okay, we're adopting you. We're not going to let you guys go through anything like that. And as soon as we come back to our house that we had loved before we were adopted, I settled in really quick. I buried all that stuff. I just didn't want to think about it. We went to counseling, of course, but I never was honest with my counselor. I didn't want to talk about it. I just told them what they thought they wanted to hear.
Right.
And so just to get through it and just so we didn't have to keep going, I wanted to be over with. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to go on with my life. And so I did, but like we know, these things resurface. About age 15, 16 years old, they resurface. And I started feeling that pain again and those thoughts. And so with the next best thing is I was 16. Now I'm old enough to start this thing they call these drugs. I heard about these drugs, that this stuff you don't have to feel when you're on drugs. And so I did exactly what I did. And I knew early off into my addiction that I wasn't the marijuana, I wasn't the alcohol type guy. I needed something a lot stronger. At a young age, I even thought that. I remember when I was 16 years old, thinking when I smoked my first joint and I drank my first beer, I was like, well, this ain't it. There's got to be something else in this world that's stronger than this. And my friends that were older, well, yes, there is. Try this. And I latched onto cocaine very religiously about the age of 17. And so I started, and it wasn't long after I started smoking and snorting cocaine that, it still wasn't enough for me. The thing about Drew Hicks is I got this deep-rooted obsession in me, okay? And I unleashed the devil when I first put cocaine in my body, and it was never, ever, ever enough, okay? And so about a year and a half, 2 years into my addiction, about 18, maybe 19, I started shooting cocaine. Okay, I started shooting cocaine, and I didn't stop shooting drugs until I was 42 years old.
Good.
And I ended up catching a big felony charge at 19 years old. I ended up catching a 14-year prison sentence at 19, and I went to prison for about 8 years. I did 8 years on that 14-year sentence, and every day in prison, I shot dope up every day. I'm an addict through and through, so I was able to manipulate the Department of Corrections into believing what I was telling them was true, and I let them believe that I was knowledgeable in working in hospitals because I knew that was the only place in that penitentiary that I would be able to get an insulin syringe. And so I got this job in the hospital, and I got the needles I wanted. I was hustling. I was shooting dope every day.
Yeah.
I was staying high because when you're in prison, you don't want to think about where you're at. You have no freedoms. You're told what to do on just about everything. So I shot dope every day in prison. I ended up getting out after 8 years and hit the ground running. I wasn't done. the disease in my head was far from done, and so I kept doing what I was doing, and didn't stay free for very long. I was already on their radar as far as I watched that guy. I ended up violating my parole with another drug felony. I have 13 felony drug convictions, and I have 56 misdemeanor convictions.
Right.
And so I caught another drug felony, ended up going back to prison on that violation of parole and another drug felony. So I ended up doing another 3 years in the penitentiary. Still, every day in prison. And then again, I didn't stop shooting. I don't know, sometimes I wonder if I was more addicted to the needle than I was to drugs.
Right.
It was a toss-up, and so I ended up doing 3 more years. Still, got out again, and my brother was there again. My older brother was there picking me up, and he asked me as I walked out the prison gates, "Are you done?" And I was, me and my brother have always been honest with each other, and I said, "Absolutely not."
Right.
Absolutely not.
Isn't that wild, man? Because, now being in recovery, this is Drew Hicks joining us on Rise Above Radio. Being in recovery, we can be on the outside looking in, but, just the other day, I heard about a cat that left a detox center after being suicidal 3 days before, man, and the first thing he does is walk and get another bottle. It's like, man, that's the hijack. That's the obsession of the mind, man. It doesn't make any sense, but in the middle of it, it's the only logical thing we do.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're right, absolutely. And I had that same obsession. See, mine was, I've known a lot of drug addicts. I used to be that guy. My active addiction spanned over a period of 25 years, so I've known a lot of actively using drug addicts.
Yeah.
And when I think about my obsession that was that dwelled within me, it trumped everybody's I ever crossed paths with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was with me. I just could never get enough. And when I thought I was at that point where I was high, I was where I wanted to be with that high, I did another shot.
Right.
Because I just thought, my mind thought, the more the better.
Right.
I could never get enough.
The chase is on, man. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I ended up going back to prison. Like I said, I got back out. My brother asked me that question, "Are you done?" No, absolutely not. And of course, I was being very honest. I wasn't done. Okay. And so I hit the ground running again, and was free maybe a year. Maybe a year. I don't think it was quite a year. And I'm going back to prison again for another possession charge and another drug felony and some other stuff. Was in prison again for, I believe, another 4 years. Dude, altogether, I've done 14 and a half years in the penitentiary.
Wow, man. Were they always in several spots, or were you kind of always in the same place there?
I started up, at 19 years old, I was in a state penitentiary, the big boy.
Yeah.
I passed go, didn't collect $200. They sent me straight to the big house.
Right.
Okay? It wasn't this honor camp stuff. I was a 19-year-old kid. My cellies were both one on each side of me, were both like triple murders. That's the prison they sent me to.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. And so in that world, you learn a whole new kind of hustle. Okay. Because you're each day could be your last day in there. Okay. You have to learn how to, you're always carrying a knife. You're always carrying, because they don't fight with fists in those prisons. They fight with knives. And so, it's just a very, the mentality in that penitentiary is, always be vigilant.
Right.
Always stay vigilant, because you just never know when somebody's coming at you. And
imagine.
Being that a young kid that I was, of course they're going to try that. I'm Nick, the new guy, so I had to learn how to fight and protect myself early.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been a big guy.
We got Nick in studio here. Nick's like, "What am I, chopped liver, dude?" Nick's the new guy, man.
Okay.
That's
nothing
awesome.
Personal, Nick. Nothing personal.
Nothing personal, man.
I got you.
Hey, we're gonna Drew. We'll take a quick break, brother, and we get back. I still want you to continue your story, man. We've got Crystal in studio as well as Nick after 3:00. So in about 35 minutes from now, we're gonna hear from Kirsty. She's calling in from the UK. So this is Rise Above Radio. If you want to join in as well, 405-478-1520. We'll get the Facebook Live going back up again on KOKC Radio, and we're back after this.
KOKC.
Anyone can get injured. Negligence doesn't discriminate, and neither do we. I'm Chris Hammonds with Laird Hammonds Laird Trial Lawyers. We take on cases big and small because no matter the size of your injury, it's a big deal to you. We have the resources, the experience, and the will to go up against the big insurance companies because they need to be held accountable. We're Laird Hammons Laird, and we won't back down from a fight. Call 703-4567 or visit LHLlaw.com.
Hudeberg is the name to know for over 60 years when you're buying your next truck. Hudeberg Buick GMC has the most truck inventory in the state, and now they're priced way below the usual internet pricing. Hudeberg Buick GMC is marking millions off all our prices to stay Oklahoma's #1 GM destination. So why wouldn't you visit Hudeberg during Truck Month? Plus, we give more money for trades because we need your trade. Come see why thousands of Oklahomans have bought their vehicle from a name they've trusted since 1957. We're Oklahoma owned and Oklahoma operated. Hudeberg, trade it in for more, buy it for less. Hurry, this sale ends soon. Hudeberg Buick GMC, I-40 and Hudeberg Drive across from Rose State in Midwest City are online and on sale 24/7 at HudebergGM.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
You can count on Hudeberg, we'll give you more.
The last time you moved, you had to pack up everything and load it up and literally move it, and that's no fun. Sooner Indian Motorcycles is moving and will not pack up anything. Get to Sooner Indian Motorcycles and take advantage of special pricing on everything. The helmet, the jacket, the bike, everything is on sale, even the used motorcycles. Get to Sooner Indian Motorcycles today before someone else buys your motorcycle. Sooner Indian Motorcycles, just east of I-35 on Main Street in Norman. Never drink and drive and always wear your helmet.
Shoot! Dang it!
What's wrong?
I forgot about 10 Gym's free open house. We could have joined for a penny, 1 cent, and got our first month free. The Wilsons joined at 10gym.com for only a penny, and their first month's free. Dang it, we missed it.
Calm down. 10 Gym extended their open house. We can join 10 Gym for a penny, pay nothing till May, and get our first month free. Wow. Join 10 Gym for a penny, get first month free, and pay nothing till May. That's their best offer ever.
10 Gym's open house extended. Join 10 Gym Preferred for a penny, 1 cent. Pay nothing for 30 days. First month is free. Pay nothing till May. Full line free weight and core stretch areas. Free Zumba, yoga, boot camp, and tanning. Get all 10 Gyms. Available supervised childcare and bring a guest free every day, every time. Join 10 Gym or 10gym.com for a penny, 1 cent. Get first month free. Pay absolutely nothing till May. Ends midnight tonight.
With spring right around the corner, now is the best time to consider membership at the Greens Country Club. Members at the Greens enjoy no minimums and no assessments while engaging in an array of activities on and off the course. Enroll now in golf, tennis, or social and receive significant savings on your joining fee. Whether you're looking to play golf on our renovated championship layout, hone your tennis skills in our 6 indoor and outdoor tennis courts, stick to your New Year's resolution in our fitness center, or lounge poolside this spring and summer, the Greens offers something for the whole family. Looking to connect with others in the community? The club offers a wide variety of social events for all ages, including wine paired dinners, family game nights, networking events, kids night out, and so much more. The all-new Twisted Oak Tavern provides exceptional farm-to-table food and specialty cocktails in a stylish new environment. We boast the #1 tennis program in the state, host an array of organized leagues and events on and off the course, and most importantly, continue to invest in the future of the club. Enroll between now and May 1st and save as much as $2,500. For more info or to schedule a tour, contact the membership department at 405-751-6266 or visit thegreenscc.com.
Be a part of Rise Above Radio at 405-478-1520 and 1-866-530-5662. This is Rise Above Radio on KLKC.
Also got to say thanks to KLRNradio.com for picking up the show. And, man, God has done some amazing things with this. It's his, not mine. That's for dang sure. And he's going to continue to do that because we've got some word that we might have other, I don't want to say affiliates, but maybe a couple other affiliates in the works, man. So
all right.
Just the message needs to be spread. That's it. I'm just the toolbox behind the microphone. Drew Hicks is calling us live. He's in Indiana. Drew is with Boca Recovery, but you were sharing his story, man. So how many charges were there, brother, starting when you were 19? You had, 13 or did you say 16?
13. I got 13 felony drug convictions total, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I got other felonies on there also, but drug convictions is usually what I talk because that's a huge part of my story. It's a lot of the reasons why I am the way I am today. So,
all right.
I can't remember. I went back to prison. That's where is that where I left off?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. You walked out. Your brother said, "Are you done?" He said, "Nope."
Yeah, right. And my brother asked me if I was finished, and of course I said, "No, I'm not finished." I wasn't. And I was out there running the gun. I almost stayed free for about a year. You know, it was not quite a year, 10, 11 months, I think at the most. And then caught another felony and ended up going back to prison again for another 2.5 years. Now, this was the last time, this wasn't my last prison sentence, but this was the last time I was in there for any substantial amount of time. You know, total, like I said, 14.5 years in prison, and then 3 or 4 years in the county jail.
Is that about half? That's about half your life, right? I mean, you're 45 now, so that's a long.
I mean, yeah, I spent 3/4 of my adult life in the penitentiary. You know, I started at 19. I didn't stop going. You know, but my last prison sentence was. Well, I'll get to that. You know, I stayed out. You know, I was in prison 2.5 years, got back out, and mind you, everybody needs to realize that every time I was in prison, I didn't go a day without shooting drugs. Okay, I had my first overdose. My last, this time in this last prison sentence, I was my first overdose. I had to overdose 3 times in my life. My first drug overdose was in prison, and back then, when I was in prison, they didn't have the Narcan that they have today.
Right.
Okay, they didn't have any of that thing. Basically, what they did. For as far as overdose, they threw you in a big tub of ice and good luck. We hope you make it out of it, okay? Because there really wasn't anything they didn't have anything to stop it.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did for me. I luckily, by the grace of God, I made it through that. Ended up getting out of prison, and I was good. Okay, so I mean, I wasn't good. I guess you could say I just didn't get caught.
Right. Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
I didn't get caught, and I was good for about 7, almost 8 years. You know, it was to the point where I was just totally. I was shocked. You know, my whole life I'd just been in prison or I got caught relatively quickly. You know, and with me going 7, 8 years without getting in trouble, it kind of messed me up a little bit. People think that's a little weird, but it did.
No, I mean, it does sound strange. Drew Hicks with us on Rise Above Radio, but it makes sense though. I mean, Crystal, you're in here with me as well as Nick. It makes sense to what he's saying there.
Yeah, most definitely.
And we don't like change, man. We don't like change, so kind of the norm.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I'm famous for sabotaging my life. You know,
Aren't
that's
we
what
all?
I'm famous for. Yeah. If I'm not sabotaging my life, I'm outside my comfort zone.
Right.
Okay, because that's all I've ever done. And so, I did end up getting in trouble again. And this was leading up to my last prison sentence. And during this time, I had some kids and got married. I thought, I was going to be that responsible guy. I was going to get married. I was going to make this marriage was going to be a reasoning for me not to get high anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But let me tell you something about the addiction that lies within Drew Hicks. There's nothing on this planet that I didn't put. My kids were never enough to keep me sober.
Sure.
Okay, ever.
Right.
And I remember, realistically, still remember, to this day, me doing a shot of dope sitting on the toilet in my house, and my 2-year-old banging on the door saying, "Daddy, I need milk," and I screamed at her. Said, "Get away from the effing door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy." My children were never enough to keep me sober. When I hear people tell me, I'm going to get sober for my children, I kind of think to myself, I don't tell them quite yet because they don't know yet.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I think, all right, you can say that. Whatever, and I tell people, whatever brings you to me trying to get into treatment or trying to get into recovery, I don't care what it is. I promise you, once you get into your recovery, you will figure out what the correct reasoning is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But you could say what you want right now. But I know that your children will never be enough to keep you sober. And mine were never enough to keep me sober.
Mine were never me either.
I ended up going back to prison again for some piddly something. I was only in there for 1.5 years, okay? But my wife, at this time, my wife had enough. She left me 2 weeks into this prison sentence. She left me, and that left me about 1.5 years to think about, how just angry I was.
Mm-hmm.
How could you do this to me? It was always poor Drew. It was always poor Drew. The world is against Drew. Poor Drew. I went through all this stuff as a child, with my biological mother, with this adopted family that abused us, with all this stuff. It was always poor me, okay? And that's why, I let the drugs just consume me, and I got out of prison after this last prison sentence that I ever did. And so I still wasn't done. I wasn't done, man. I just could never get enough. I always tell this part of my story. I want a lot of people to realize this. I don't necessarily know that I wanted to die. I just know I didn't want to live anymore. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
That's the kind of, unless you've been there, you don't understand it. But if you've been there, you know what I mean. Okay. So, the next few years, this was in 2000, and our divorce got finalized in 2013. And so after the divorce, I took I took this disease to the next level. You know, you think, how can you go any worse than you are? Well, I'm that addict that will show you that it can get worse. Okay,
Right.
And that's exactly what I did with my life. You know, 2015, September 2015, I overdosed for the last time, and this was the one that, you know, I tell this part of my story, and a lot of people think, oh, I don't know, unless you believe in your higher power or whatever, I don't know, but I know absolutely that I do, and this is what happened. I was laying in a hospital bed in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was out. I was clinically, they pronounced me dead for 4.5 minutes. I came back, and during that 4.5 minutes, it kind of brings goosebumps to me when I talk about this part of my story, is I heard a voice. And you know what? I'm not crazy. I've got all my faculties, but I heard a voice tell me, "Get up. I'm not done with you."
Right? Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not done with you.
Lazarus,
So,
you're not
you know,
dead. Yeah.
I'm not dead. And I wake back up out of this. My daughter's crying at the foot of my bed, crying, absolutely hysterical, you know, and she looks at me and she says, "Dad, when is it going to be enough?
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to take, Dad?" And absolutely broke my heart. Of course it is. But you know what? She was just never enough for me to stay sober. You know, as much as I wanted to stay sober for her and her sisters and my sons, they just never were enough for me. You know, and so I get out of prison and I get arrested. But I get arrested I get caught up. And during the hustle, you know, the hustle mentality, hustle life, I was selling dope on the side too. Okay.
Right.
I wasn't just a bottom feeding junkie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was that. But I was selling dope on the side too, basically to get high for free, you know. And so I get hemmed up with a substantial amount of weight. You know, I was running some dope for some serious heavy hitters up where I'm from, and I get hemmed up. I get set up. A girl I know my whole entire life sets me up, and I get hemmed up with a lot of drugs. With my criminal history, with my felony record, dude, I'm getting ready to do the next 50 years in prison.
I would say they're going to throw the book at you, man, because
they were getting ready to kill, and I know that. And, you know, the judge had told me, ever again, if I see you in this courtroom, you are getting 50 years. I will amend charges to make sure that you get 50 years. He told me that, and I believed him. I mean, if you know this judge, you believe this man. And so I just, you know, and I was sitting in the car with the shotgun to the back of my head by the police because I got set up, and they came running in. And I had a pistol underneath my car, in my car seat, with all this dope. And I was going to grab this gun. I visualized this, and I was going to be like suicide by cop. Because I was not going to prison for the next 50 years. If I would have made it through it, I might have been 90 when I got out. Okay?
Right.
And that was my whole life. My daughters, when sons would have seen me I would have seen them through a prison window.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so, I had my hand on the pistol, brother. Hand was on it. I was getting ready to do it, and I look up, and I had a picture of my kids on my speedometer, you know, and it was enough for me to just let it go and drop the gun and just go to jail.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember I was sitting, I got arrested, thrown into our cell as a holding cell, and of course, it's funny how we always like to turn to God when we get in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Exactly, man. Yeah.
You know, and I'm no different. And but this time, Mac, I actually meant it.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up and I said, look, I remember what I prayed. I said, God, if there's any kind of way you can throw me one more bone, just throw me something. You know, I promise you I will not only get clean and stay clean, but I promise you I will take as many people into this clean world as I possibly can. And so I remember detoxing in county jail. I was bad. I was detoxing bad. And I remember banging on my cell door, and I thought it was just them trying to give me some of these detox meds, but it wasn't. It was a lawyer pulled me out, and I have a probation officer that watched me destroy my life, pretty much my entire adult life. She took a liking to me when I was young, and she watched me just destroy my life. But she managed to talk to this program they started over here in Kosciuszko County, where I live at, Indiana, and asked them to put me on the table for this drug court program.
Right.
And they were like, "Really, Drew Hicks? He's a lost cause." And I remember having a conversation with this prosecutor. I'm very good friends with him today, where he told me there was 3 people, his entire prosecuting history, that he put in a death on a file that were just lost causes. and my name was at the top of them.
Drew Hicks was numero uno. Right, yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one. And he was the prosecutor in charge of this drug court program. He's like, that guy is never going to change.
Right.
We are going to let him out on drug court. He's going to make a mockery of our program. It's just going to go bad. It's not going to be good.
Right. Hey, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, now I was going to ask you real quick, dude, because Nick and Crystal in here, when you said your kids, you never stopped when you would think about your kids. They both. Nick, do you have kids? I
have a lot of kids.
Right. both of them were like, me neither, man. And when you were saying that, the guilt of it not being enough and all that just drove you back to using, right? I mean, it drives us back to drinking and drugging because we feel guilty, we feel shame because we're not changing, and honestly, like failed parents is what we feel like, man. Right?
Absolutely, brother. My biggest problem in life really wasn't the drugs. And people are like, what do you mean? The drugs destroyed your life? No, my biggest problem in life has always been me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's always been me. I would shoot myself in the foot when I didn't have to. I would sabotage anything good in my life intentionally because, you know what, I don't think, it's never really been the fear of failure for Drew. It's always been the fear of success because I didn't think I could rationally handle it. Because with success comes responsibility.
Right.
And I was a very lazy addict. I didn't want that. I knew what I had coming if I failed. I knew what I had coming if I failed. And I was, as sickening as that sounds, I was comfortable with that
right.
failure.
Well, that's the change. Yeah, I mean, that kind of, it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get into this drug court program, and that promise I made to God, I actually meant it.
Right.
And I applied myself for the first time in my life, and people said, and I've always told myself subconsciously, you failed at everything in your life, Drew. You failed, but that's not true. That's not true. See, you have to try in order to fail. I never tried.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The first time I actually applied myself, it worked.
Absolutely.
Right. See, isn't that funny? You know how many times fear of rejection and failure kept me from applying? Like a buddy would call, say, because I've been in radio almost 20 years, so it'd be like, hey, I'm in Dallas, it's a big market. And it would be like, there's an opening, send your audio, your resume, whatever. And no. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
No. I'm right there with you, man.
Fear's a liar.
You're absolutely right. And so I get in this program, man, and I just start working it. I was kind of flying blind my first 60 days because when I got out, they released you out of jail. With what they did is they sentence you to drug court. It's like you go into court and they sentence you to all the charges you got arrested for. They hang that prison sentence over your head, and if you screw up this drug court program, that's what you get.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I got 55 years.
Man.
Okay. They gave me 55 years.
That's good motivation.
A little bit older than that. It's like 55 years and 3 months. Okay. So
that's real good motivation.
They hang that over my head, and so and I tell people all the time, well, if it took them hanging this over my head for me to get my life together, whatever it took, it took. And this is where I'm at with it. This is what I did with that. This is what I did with that opportunity. Okay? And so I was mandated to the sober living house that we have here in my hometown for a period of a year. That was part of this plea bargain with the 55 years. So I had to complete that program as well as the drug court program at the same time. I started doing this drug court program. I started just diving into these classes and all these things that they're having me do, and it's working for my life. Finally, I managed to scratch together 60 days white knuckling it. I didn't have a sponsor. I work a 12-step program. Everybody needs to, realize I do work a 12-step program.
Yeah.
But my first 60 days, I white knuckled it. I didn't have a sponsor, and my 60 days in, I get this amazing sponsor who's my sponsor to this day. He's been my sponsor for almost 3 years. And this is where the change happened for me, because I had that one guy who was 27 years clean, who managed to put together 27 years. Let me tell you don't get 27 years by accident.
Oh, no doubt, man. Yeah.
You're doing something right. You're doing something right. And so I had started a page called Clean and Sober, That's What's Up on Facebook, and this guy would keep commenting on my posts that I would make in my group. And I was like, man, this man's making me think. He would subconsciously make me think about stuff. Mind you, my sponsor lives in Florida, and I was living up here in Indiana at the time, but he's from Indiana. And so from somehow reason, he got onto my group and was just putting these comments, making me think.
Right.
Finally, I just said, you know what? I'm tired of this guy. I don't know if he's. I'm an addict. I don't know if he's trying to talk crap about me or do something. I don't know. So I messaged this man and I say, hey, what's your deal, dude? And he's like, I'm just trying to make you think about, where you need to be and things that you need to be thinking about in your recovery. And I was like, really? And so we started talking, dude, and I realized, this guy has what I want. Okay, he's a successful businessman today. He's got 27 years clean. He's got his family together. He's got his stuff together. And he's just easy to talk to. We relate on so many things. I look at his life, and I want what he's got.
Right.
You know how that goes.
It's the attraction, man.
Yeah,
it's the attraction. Yeah.
And so I asked him to be my sponsor, and he has never left my side since.
Dude, you still have me laughing when you're like, "What? I'm tired of this guy, man. He's like picking on me with these."
I was like, this guy. I'm from I grew up in the penitentiary. You trying to punk me, man?
You're right. Yeah.
What we gotta do? I'll meet you. Where we gotta go?
Like one of my best friends on the planet. He is one of those guys when I was still playing with the idea of getting sober, man. He would talk to me, and then he would say something like, "Hey, I saw you were at a concert the other night, hanging out with so and so," and I'm like, "Yeah, still." And he's like, "Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares." and then I'd be like, "Man, why is this guy such a jackwagon?" And then like sober, I'm like, "Wow, I was the jackwagon. I didn't listen, So it's funny, man. That's hilarious.
Good times.
Yeah, you're right, bro. I mean, because even though I've been, I'm an addict in recovery today, we still carry that addict mentality inside us.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that I sometimes like one time I just remember I told my wife I'm going to go outside and I'm going to look at the grass. And I'm going to, where are you going to mow? No, I'm just, because that irritable restless, yeah, man, you got to, but that's the thing about it though. And I was just talking with somebody earlier this week about, not drinking and not drugging and stuff. That's kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you guys, but that's not the easy part. I mean, that's not the hard part. The hard part is when things happen that I always used to go back to drinking about, right. Man. You know what I mean? Like
what you're comfortable with.
Right. Yeah. Or getting back into your old behavior to tit for tat with people, to go back for revenge on somebody that you think has wronged you, or in his case on Facebook, to just tell him off on that.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to talk to me like that.
Right. Resentment.
Not private message him, but call him out on Facebook and say, there, how about that? I'll just tell you about yourself now.
It's my thing,
You're so right. And I thought he was doing that to me. So I'm glad I thought that, because I now have a relationship with a man that I call, he's like a father figure to me.
Right.
We have, it's through his guidance and his helping me grow in my recovery is a lot of the reason that I'm Drew Hicks today.
Right.
The Drew Hicks the world gets to see, and so he's not real. He's kind of standoffish. He's not the public figure like Drew Hicks is.
Yeah. Which is cool, which is all right. Some were made to, I totally respect it. Like on the show here, I don't believe in my heart. I don't think I was made to be anonymous. But man, if, John Doe is, that's totally cool, brother.
Right,
we can respect that, man.
I was anonymous before I'll get
and
to
I
that in a minute, but
everybody's anonymity.
I'm not doing it.
When I go on and I do a lot of live videos. You guys know that, okay? And so I would never, screw up anybody's anonymity or put anybody's stuff out there. But I have T-shirts that say, we refuse to be anonymous.
Right,
okay?
yeah.
I refuse to be anonymous. I am that guy who will stand at the highest mountain, tell you I am a drug addict, a recovering drug addict, and this is what happened, this is why I did what I did, and this is how I got better.
Right.
Okay? That's me. That's Drew Hicks. That may not be Mac. That may not, be anybody else. But, and I respect that fact.
Right.
And I get a lot of flack from the communities, what about the anonymity? Well, you know what? I'm not wrecking nobody's anonymity but my own.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay?
And, you said right there, like, because I'll be right there in the mountain with you, brother, saying I'm a drunk that just doesn't happen to drink anymore. But how liberating is that, though, man? Like where I work here in Oklahoma City, dude, I worked here before for just a couple of months, and they laid me off because I was always late, man. I wasn't accountable, you know what I mean? And by the grace of God and good people here, I'm back in the building and things are, one foot in front of the other. But I feel it's so liberating to come to work, honestly, where I don't have to, do I smell like booze? Do they know that I'm still drunk?
Right.
I have stuff in my bag. Well, they know, yada, yada. Man, it's pretty choice to I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's awesome.
It's absolutely one of the most amazing feelings you'll ever experience your entire life, like I said, my entire life has been nothing but chaos, insanity, and devastation.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that here I'm in recovery, you know, got this amazing sponsor, and now things are starting. You mean you can actually genuinely smile for just genuinely being happy?
Right.
Okay, you know, I never understood that. I never understood how somebody could go and live their life, their adult life, and be happy without the use of drugs and alcohol. You know, how is that possible? What is this stuff they call sober fun? How do you have fun in sobriety?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The only lame people were, those people ain't got no life.
Right. You don't, what do you mean they don't drink, man?
Right.
Like,
right. You know, and I was the same way, man.
Right.
So, you know,
that was,
I got, you know,
The
you know,
first
I
time
got
I
a
was
few
in
months under my belt, you know, and I got, like I said, my Clean and Sober, That's What's Up group, which I still have today, it got me on the news.
Right.
The news up here in South Bend, Indiana. And so with that notoriety being on the news, the treatment industry took a notice to me.
Right.
Okay. And I started getting, you know, propositioned by treatment facilities, and I took a job with a treatment facility before I was at Boca. And I wasn't there very long. I was there maybe 4 months. Okay. And it was a good job. It got my I got a little experience, kind of see how everything's worked, you know, but about 4 months into working at this treatment facility, they're in Delray Beach, Florida. I won't name them because I'm just not going to. But I get this message from this guy whom I choose to call one of my best friends in the world. I love him dearly. His name's Christopher Ferry. Okay? He inboxes me, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you." And I didn't even know who Christopher Ferry was. He is the owner of Boca Recovery Center. Okay? And he says, "Hey, I like what he got wind of what I was doing. He liked my work, blah blah blah." And if you know Chris, you understand this man's the most transparent guy you'll ever meet. Okay, and that was what he said to me. He goes, "I want to be transparent with you, Drew. I just want to steal you." That's what he said, and I'm like, all right. So I come down to Boca Raton, Florida, and I'm sitting there talking with Chris and Ryan Montgomery, the other, owner of Boca Recovery Center, and I click with these guys immediately. It's like one of those situations in your life when you're around somebody, you just know you're around the right people.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And that's who I was. I felt immediately drawn to these guys, like we were family from the first sentence we talked to each other. And I started working for Boca Recovery Center. I signed a contract for them right there that time in Florida, and I just started. I built my public figure page around working at Boca, and the rest is history. I like, this is the best part of my story that I like to talk about the most. We all have that devastation, bull crappy story. We all kind of got the same story, just different circumstances. It all ends the same.
Right.
Okay. And so this is the part of my story I love the most, is that, through what recovery's done for me is, and not only first and foremost has it saved my life, because it absolutely did, because I was probably 2 months from dying when I got that last big charge. I'm almost 6'1". I weighed 113 pounds when I went to jail.
Right, man.
Okay? That was about as much as my bones weighed.
You put a cigarette in your mouth, you're falling forward, man.
Dude, the cigarette weighed more than my hand.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the thing about us and actively using addicts, we look in the mirror, we think we look beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, oh boy.
Okay,
look great.
It was sexy.
Yeah. I do my thing.
You guys know the drill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
What are you talking about?
I can see all my ribs right now.
You guys are missing
Wondering why
out.
I wear long sleeves in 90-degree weather.
Oh, yeah.
Because all my veins have been collapsed, and I missed 3 or 4 times, and it's just disgusting. You don't want to look at it. So, that's where I was at with it. And so
God bless.
It saved my life, but then also it saved my children as well.
Yeah.
If anybody knows me, a lot of my followers know that I'm a passionate father today, and that's one thing that recovery has given me. One of the most important things recovery has given me is my drive to be this amazing dad. Okay, because I was not that guy.
Right.
Okay, and now with what happened to me yesterday in court, it was kind of like I told you, Mac, yesterday when we talked to each other. It was the icing on the cake for my recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here I am finally. I had my daughters, and that hole in my gut, in my heart, not being part of my son's life, it was bad. It was there, and I felt it every day, and so now that I've gotten to this point, that they're part of my life, well, I'm going to work them back into my life, in the counseling and stuff. But You know, there's so many people, you know, Mac, you know I do live videos.
Yeah.
You know, I do live videos every night for my public figure page. And I've been able to establish a connection with people all around the world today. You know, and I believe the reasoning is because, you know the whole concept that real knows real.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's so many people who do what I do who just maybe not be doing it genuinely for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I simply have a message of hope. You know, and I don't claim to be a doctor. I don't claim to be a therapist or a psychiatrist or psychologist or any of that. I'm just simply a man who's struggled his entire life. You know, and I tell people all the time, your lows don't have to be as low as mine.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to get to that level.
Yeah,
you don't have to get there.
The rock bottom. Yeah, it doesn't have
Right.
to be what it was for. Yeah. No, you're totally right, man.
We all have different rock bottoms, but yours don't have to get as low as mine.
Right.
Okay, and you know what? A lot of people think what scares most actively using addicts from reaching out is, you know, we have that mentality as addicts that, you know, we don't want to show weakness.
Right.
We believe that
yeah.
quitting is weak.
Right.
We
Exactly.
got this under control. What are you talking about? I ain't got a problem. I can quit whenever I want. You know, I don't need that recovery.
Right.
Rehab's for quitters. We've heard all this. Stuff
Exactly.
before.
Hey, brother, how can somebody follow you and everything, man? What are your social media pages?
I have a public figure I can't even talk. Public figure page on Facebook. It's under Drew Hicks. All you gotta do is search my name, Drew Hicks, top of Facebook, in the search bar. Scroll down, see public figure. You can go like and follow my page. I think I just crashed 24,000 followers today.
Nice.
But I don't like to call my followers. I call them my family.
Right.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
We're all a big family, bro.
Praise God.
Facebook wants to put follower and fan. That's not how I think about it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's DRU Hicks, Hicks,
Right,
man.
exactly.
Very cool.
DRU Hicks.
Hey, brother, we got a top of the hour break, man, but thanks for calling, dude. I appreciate it, and I'll be in touch with you, man. But hell of a story, dude. Thank you.
All right, Max. Thanks for having me, brother.
You got it, man.
Right,
I'll talk
have
to
a
you
good
soon.
one.
Yeah, that's Drew Hicks right there on Rise Above Radio, and much more on the other side of the break. Couple minutes, we got Crystal, we got Nick, and we'll hear from Kirsty in the UK. Hang tight.
KOKC.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-13.
For checking us out. Carrying the show. Facebook Live, KOKC Radio. You can check it out, man. What a great day to be clean and sober. Thanks again to Drew Hicks. Drew Hicks checking in from Boca Recovery. My man Drew is in Indiana, but Boca is in Florida. And again, you can look him up. It's DRU Hicks on Facebook. He's got quite the following, man. Spread the message of hope. I love this song. You guys like this song, Pop Evil?
I've never heard it.
Oh, you got That's Dick talking right there. It's like one of those songs that you latch onto, man. Yeah, like let me just let it punch you in the ears real fast. Hold on a second. It's great too, man. That's how we feel.
Praise God.
I want to stand up 100 feet tall, 'cause fear will never lead my way. I'm ready to run 100 miles strong. I will never be the same. Waking the light.
Oh, see, right? Yeah.
That's good stuff.
And somebody said, what's a song that you like latch onto sort of in your recovery? I'm like, that's got to be Pop Evil, Waking the Lions, man.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, man, there was something was sleeping in me for a long time, dude. I think, about 16 years for me being an active alcoholism. And I was the kind of drunk that would watch you take a handful of pills or watch you put something in your arm or up your nose. And I would be like, why would you ever do that? Don't you love yourself enough to not do that to your body? Oh, exactly. Yeah. But then it would be down the hatch and off we go drinking and stuff, man. So, but you know what was really cool the other day, and I want to say this real fast before we get into Crystal's story. And Nick, thanks for joining her, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
And again, we'll hear from Kirsty calling in from the UK in just a little bit. But I have a 7-year-old daughter. And I got a 5-month-old daughter. 7-year-old daughter. Obviously, she doesn't remember me drinking and everything. But in December, I had 2 years, by the grace of God, man. 2 years clean and sober. Yesterday was 27 months.
Nice.
And man, I always say I'm not, I'm just getting out of his way, dude.
Yeah.
Just getting out of his way, bro.
Oh, yeah.
But I talked to my daughter she knows that I do Rise Above. And I talked to her on Thursday, actually, on the way to her little theater camp she was doing for spring break, man.
Praise God.
About why does Daddy do Rise Above? So holy crap, I might get emotional, man. Hold on a second. I talked to her about the reason why I'm in recovery. And I talked to her about the fact that Daddy had a problem with alcohol. And so, in my faith and everything else, being able to stop drinking. So Rise Above is what we do. We try to help other people. She knows what treatment is, and she knows drugs and alcohol and all the different things. And I told her, being a parent, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, man, that you're going to grow up and people are going to try to convince you to do this and that and the other. And so, and she's a smart little girl. That's why I prayed about it, how I was going to address it. I felt like it was on my heart for like a week and a half, man, because we had gotten to the point of conversations where it sort of became natural to talk to her about it. And I've done like the Facebook Lives. She's just heard me a lot talk about recovery, man, a lot of it. And And I gave the commencement one time at a family drug court thing, and so she was there. You know what I'm saying? So it just felt right. Like, if you got an inner struggle, if you got like something moving inside you, that's God.
Yeah.
In my opinion, man, like that's the whole thing of trying to urge you to do something. And so I had to sit back. And anyway, it was really great, man. It was very liberating. I told her mom and I told my wife, and it was cool because. She was really receptive. I had prayed about how she'd react to it. I kind of said, God, I feel like doing this, so I give you all control of how she's going to take it and how you want it to be. And it was pretty nice, dude. It was pretty cool. We talked about drugs and alcohol and peer pressure and things, and how Daddy doesn't drink because I don't have the ability to stop.
Right.
And, her mom's boyfriend, she said, well, maybe like he can have a drink and he can have a beer with dinner and that's okay. I said, yeah, absolutely. And she said, because maybe he's not addicted. I said, you're exactly right.
Yeah, he doesn't have the allergy of the body, the infection of the mind.
Yeah. And I told her about people with food and gambling and all these different kinds. And I told her, just on Rise Above, man, we are just trying to spread some hope and show some people that it can happen to you. So
praise God.
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool. Probably one of the coolest things I've done in this whole thing that we call recovery, man. So
awesome.
Crystal, I'm glad you were able to make it in, sister. It looks like you've done a lot of things in recovery, and
God has.
How? Yeah.
Sorry, God has.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'll tell
man.
you what, Crystal, she's the one that sleeps under the bridge.
Right. Yeah.
She is.
Yeah. What's your story, man?
I grew up pretty normally. I grew up in Noble, America. I never drank normal.
Right.
I didn't drink all the time. I was a binge drinker. I blacked out every time I drank.
Sure.
And then when I was 31 years old, I discovered methamphetamine. And the first time I tried it, I didn't stop for 18 months. At that time, I went to a treatment center here in Oklahoma City. I went to the first one I was pregnant with my son. Sorry, this is in 2006. I was pregnant with Tristan. And I'd already lost Hunter, my 22-year-old. And I went into early labor because I was withdrawing from meth.
Right.
Because I was trying to stop, but I wasn't.
Right.
I ended up going to TRC, then to Community House, and then to Eagle Ridge for 17 months. And I'd only done drugs at this time for 18.
Right. That's a good example to show you how man latches on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I ended up I did real good while I was at Eagle Ridge after I had my son. He had said that he's heard God speak to him. I heard him speak to me at that time. This is not yet when I found God, and that was part of why my story ends up continuing. But Tristan almost died when he was born, and I was not doing what I was supposed to at Eagle Ridge at all.
Right.
At all. And the next day I was in the shower, and I just kept hearing, if you want him, you will fight for him. And so I went back to Eagle Ridge, and I was client with a clue every single week, and I did everything I was supposed to. And I got out, and I kept doing everything you hear you're supposed to do. I ended up creating what I call a crystal suit. I was a people pleaser, which is also a form of manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
It is manipulation
Sure,
because
yeah.
it didn't matter if I like you or not. I needed and wanted you to like me.
Because my best interest is at mind and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's whoever. I mean, if you didn't smoke, I didn't smoke. If you liked country girls, I was a country girl. If you I never really defined myself. I never really defined myself in my recovery the first time. I stayed dry for 9.5 years. And I did the recovery thing, but I never found God. Never. I had holes inside of me, big holes. I tried to fill it with drugs. Or at that time, it wasn't drugs. The drugs didn't work. We already figured this out. I tried to fill it with men. I got new cars, new houses, new clothes, did my hair a million different ways, did my nails, did, all these surface things.
Yeah.
And it just, after a while, when I figured out nothing worked, I knew something that would take away that pain from me again. Right. And so I went back to methamphetamine.
Yeah.
I relapsed that time for 18 months as well. That's my done point.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, I ended up back on the streets homeless. I was a paralegal during that 9.5 years. I lost absolutely everything. I mean, everything. I lost my second kid. I did end up getting him back. But while I was in my second relapse, or after my relapse, I got arrested in Del City. And when I got out, they had picked up my son. And I knew I had to stay sober because they might want a hair follicle test so that I could get him back. And so I was still on the streets and I stayed sober. I kind of did that through Facebook. I was checking it. It felt a little less alone. I hadn't found God yet, but it felt less alone.
Staying plugged in with different pages and stuff, or recovery, or just people
posting. I started being honest.
Right. Yeah.
Because I lied the whole time before. Nobody knew in my circle of friends and whatnot that I was in recovery. Nobody.
Sure. Right.
Because I was afraid that they wouldn't like me.
Sure, what will others think?
This was this crystal suit. Everything on the outside had to be perfect. She had to sit pretty. She always had to have a smile on her face, and she always had to be happy.
Right.
And that's a whole lot to carry.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just became too much. I was after I got out of jail, I know how to stay clean, and actually I found a lot of confusion in it, and I even reached out to some of my Eagle Ridge girls. I'm like, okay, I'm clean. Why isn't my life back together? I felt like when I got clean, I'm supposed to, like, you wake up from a bad nightmare and it's all over and everything's okay.
Right.
And it wasn't. So I was out living on the streets of Oklahoma City. One night I almost got picked up, I believe, for human trafficking.
Right.
They were watching me and I wasn't using, so I knew. I weighed all 120 pounds still because you can't get your weight back while you're on the street, soaking wet. And so finally I contacted my DHS worker and I said, I don't know what to do. You know, I'm not safe out here and my life isn't coming back together. I'd been almost 30 days on the street. No, I had been 30 days. It was exactly 30 days.
Right.
Back out on the street, not knowing what to do. I didn't understand why my life didn't just...
How come it just didn't... Yeah.
Right. I quit using. Now I'm supposed to have my cars back and my house back and my son back and my mind back. Mm-hmm. And I ended up in City Rescue Mission. Right. And that's where I met God.
Nice.
And that's where absolutely everything 10 times over changed for me. I'm working on 21 months right now. I have 20 months.
It's outstanding, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time, I mean, the people that are in my life can even tell you, and that have been in my life this whole time can tell you that I've came back twice as fast and twice as hard this time. Yeah. I am a new creation for sure. There's absolutely no doubt about it in my head whatsoever that I'm not a new creation.
It's pretty wild, isn't it? It's pretty. Obviously, you wake up every morning and say, you surrender it all again. But, but being able to look back and go, man, like for me, like social drinker turns to survival drinker. I mean, for me, it's a trip. It's crazy that I haven't had a drink and that you haven't had a drug in 20. Right. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Why? Because we make it so normal.
Right.
Yeah.
The staying quit isn't the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
It is for a lot of people. It's the quitting because then I got to feel all that ickiness that's there, all that, those hard things.
You got to feel.
Yeah.
That's an addict's least favorite word, the F word, feel. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. I've learned how to deal with things completely differently. It says you'll be restored to sanity. Yeah. When I got my driver's license back after my first go with drugs, I was to submit a mental health report to make sure I wasn't going to kill somebody or myself in my car. And I had to submit those every 6 months for the state of Oklahoma. And this time, when I came through, I went, I got to get my license back. And, I figured, well, I'm not seeing a doctor. I don't have to submit these reports. So the state of Oklahoma kindly removed my driver's license from me. I don't know why that doesn't work. If I'm not seeing a doctor, I'm cured, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
That is what is amazing is this time when I came through and I submitted the mental health report to get my driver's license back, I'm not saying this is for anybody else. I was in City Rescue Mission when I attempted to not go back on my medication that I've been taking forever.
Right.
And I've been successful at that. And I also no longer ever have to submit a report again.
Nice.
And I had done that for 12 years consecutive. Every 6 months, you got to, they make sure I'm okay to drive.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to kill somebody or myself. Homicidal, suicidal, as they say.
Yeah. And that's,
I came in this time, and I decided when I came through I was going to do everything totally different than I did last time.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to make friends now. I mean, if you keep anybody, everybody at this distance from you, nobody really knows what's going on in here.
Right. No, totally.
And it's all about the outside. That's who that crystal suit was. She was all about what it looked like out here.
Yeah,
Didn't matter what it was in here.
We're not made to be alone.
No, not at all. And that's just a testament to how important community is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'd asked about Facebook, and you said just posting things and all that. I mean,
I just got real honest on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that actually, my first New Year's Eve, it had been sober, 2018. I swore transparency, and I have done that.
Right.
Life.
How good does that feel?
Amazing.
Right? Yeah.
Amazing. I get to, and we talked about the anonymous thing. I worked for a lawyer before, and if he would have found out I was an addict, I honestly believe I would have been fired. A recovering addict.
Yeah.
Not an addict, or was before, or if he would have found out about my mental health.
Sure.
He would have terminated me. I'm
stigma,
almost positive.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
I can't have a flawed person here. I can't do that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this time it's just, I tell my story every single day. Yeah. And I love it.
Right.
And it's freeing. And I get to work with people in that broken spot. That George Schaefer talks in his testimony, or his wife does, Meredith, about feeling that despair wash over her. Yeah. That's the one emotion that I can look and see. You can feel it, you can smell it, and it doesn't have to be your own. But with working with the people that I work with daily, I get to remember what that felt like.
Exactly.
Because I can look at it, and I can see it, and you can almost smell it, and you can feel it. And
gratitude.
Oh, yeah. A lot of gratitude.
Man.
And it reminds me of where I was, where before, I stayed away from all that, because those are those people, and I'm this crystal.
Sure
I'm
thing.
this girl.
Yeah.
And I've come back. It's totally different for me this time.
Right.
It's just absolutely amazing.
I would, how's it going for you? Busy and blessed, man.
Yeah.
Because that's the cliche, like busy and blessed.
Yeah.
That's it. Attitude of gratitude. I didn't, looking back, and I love
My son's not with me right now. I'm in sobriety, but because of my poor choices a while back and the person I was dating, I've made us in a situation where our housing hasn't been stable.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got us a place, but it's not ready for him to be there yet. Yeah. Bought it from him.
Nice. Look at that, bro. So even that is helping out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, we're almost home. We're almost home. It's been since June of last year that we have been, we're what's considered couch homeless.
You're getting it, man.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
yes.
I didn't have to get high over it.
Praise God.
I went through this abusive relationship, and guess what? I didn't have to get high over
That's
it.
the main man right there. Is the main thing is that you don't have to.
No,
you don't have to because it's a whole
absolutely
different way.
No.
It's just sort of like watch it unfold. I'll and I keep this in mind too. And then if I have a chance to talk to somebody else about it, it's like I talked to a guy one time about his kids. Man, he doesn't get to see his kids. One lives in a different country, and one is grown up and everything too. And I asked him, "What do you want? What do you want?" I want to see my babies. I want to see my kids, And he was pretty intoxicated during the conversation, but mainly I was just like, if you keep doing this, I can guarantee you that you won't.
Right.
Exactly.
Never.
I can guarantee you that you won't because you'll either be locked up or covered up.
Right.
For sure.
And that's what we learn. We learn, I've learned that to play things out, to remember how these things end.
Right.
You know? Because it's all going to end the same. I'm going to be back up under that bridge again, waiting for someone to pick me up to change my life to where I don't want to come back.
Yeah. Right.
Like you said, I didn't really want to ever kill myself because I didn't want to have my kids to have to live with the fact that I killed myself.
Right.
But I sure didn't want to live. Yeah. I sure prayed every night that this is what does it for me, that I don't wake up in the morning.
Right.
They just find out I was dead under a bridge somewhere.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. You talk about being completely void.
Oh, yeah.
Of hope. Chris Freeman's a good friend of the program, a good friend of mine. Yeah, he's sober works, and he's actually living in the UK right now too. But he had called in one time and said, in active addiction, man, you talk about some of the deepest sorrow and sadness that a human being can ever experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's because we got blinders on.
Oh, yeah.
We got blinders on.
That's exactly
you
what
can't see any of the goodness.
We can see only that despair.
Right.
You know, and there's no hope. That's over here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we're in that lifestyle. We're in that spiral.
Right.
And so we only see them getting worse.
Right.
And I say this all the time: as you seek, so shall you find.
Right.
Yeah.
If you look for beauty, you're going to find beauty, even in the ugliest of places. I've seen so many beautiful things under the bridge.
Right.
You know, I've also seen a lot of ugly. And if I go under the bridge now and look, if I'm looking for ugly, that's what I'm going to find.
Right.
If I'm looking for beauty, I'm going to see the, broken piece of glass on the ground that has
Sure.
a shimmer in it.
Right.
Not the needle sitting next to it.
Oh, God. Oh, goodness.
It's you pivot your perspective, man.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's all about the perspective.
I mean, like, trying to find the good, and because I'll go to, you go to meetings, and some guy may have 3 decades more than me of sober time or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is a judgmental attitude, but
Right.
every word out of his mouth is the F-bomb.
Yeah.
It's irritable, man.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be
yeah.
there. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, that doesn't, I can't, you just have to learn to not be such a...
And I'll say this. So I get the privilege to now counsel guys at the Salvation Army. That's where I went to rehab at.
Yeah.
And so now they've asked me to step into a counselor position, and I'm more than willing. Anything to get out of my comfortable, I stay uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, I'm comfortable in being uncomfortable now.
Right. Yeah.
Like coming here, I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing.
That's awesome, man.
But and that's what I have to tell guys. Because guys say all that all the time. They're like, man, we go to meetings. It's all the cursing, and I'm like, right. Well, there are some meetings that are social meetings. I believe there are some meetings that are solution-based meetings. You have to actively search out these meetings.
Yeah.
You'll find out by going.
Yeah.
And you'll go and you'll find the ones that fit you.
Right.
And the ones that click, and the ones that you can connect with, and the ones that have solution there. And I'm not downing on any
Sure.
meeting. Praise God that they have them.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, in all honesty, the reality of it is some of them are more just like
gathering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so you got to find those solution-based meetings, and they're out there. I mean, my schedule is full of them.
Right.
And that's just more of the way that the devil, the evil one, the bad guy.
You're right. However you want to say it.
Yeah. Whoever can get in there and manipulate all this goodness and make it a bad thing.
Yeah.
God can take anything that's ugly and turn it into a wonderful situation.
Sure. Yeah.
But we are self-will, and when we're in our active addiction, we run on that self-will.
Yeah.
And it's not until we give our lives and our will over to God that He can in turn, because God's a gentleman.
Right.
And He's not going to do it for you.
Right. Yeah.
We are the arms and feet. So we have to put into action.
Yeah.
I mean, any program that we work is a program of action. So you can't just read a book and be like, all right, I'm good.
Exactly, man. I used to have the most twisted misunderstanding of God's love and active alcoholism.
Me too. I thought He was a damning God. I thought I thought I had to get perfect, and then I could start going to church.
Right.
And when I learned later, I was like,
oh yeah, man,
this is how I get better.
Right.
I was terrified that He was gonna punish my daughter for all my shortcomings.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so God doesn't call the equipped; He equips the called.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that all these people, oh man, I can't do it. No, you can't. God can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I mean, we are horrible humans for the most part.
Yeah.
But with God, when we are weak, God is strong. And if we lean on Him and lean into Him, then all things are possible.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people we have, like in those active addictions, we have those blinders on. And for the longest, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
Death in prison was the only place I was heading. And I was on the streets selling drugs. I was a very successful drug dealer. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care where. As long as you had my money,
right?
And you was on time, things was going to work out for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we was going to have some problems.
Right.
And I caught 9 felonies, and then my 10th one, a guy wore a wire on me. Praise God! If I see that guy right now, I'd give him a hug and kiss.
You're right. Yeah.
Because it was that guy that was the pivotal role in my whole recovery. I never was going to sober up, not once. I mean, that rehab's for quitters.
Right.
I got a hold of Chauncey Ward. He's the officer that arrested me this last time, and I said, I want to thank you.
Yeah.
He said, I prayed for you every night. My original plan was when I got out of jail, I was going to go into his house and have him kill me in front of his wife and kid because he took away my family. I was going to make sure his never looked at him the same.
Man.
That was my plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just a testament to how God, how the beauty of it all comes full circle, man. Like we hear about dude getting, had gotten shot when he was 19 during a burglary or whatever it is, and now, you fast forward all these, like, almost a couple of decades later, 20 years, and now he, like, helps the family member get of the police officer that shot him to get into recovery.
Right.
Or one guy as an arresting officer, and he puts him into a sober house that he, it's like, dude, it's the way it happens.
Yeah, God is good. So I just want to say, I mean, the way I stay sober, I don't mean to cut you off and jump in, but I don't want to give the devil too much credit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to keep my past story kind of short. I've gone into it on occasion, but for the most part of it, it was just an average drug dealer, drug head, stupid person, didn't care about anything kind of lifestyle. I did graduate high school and college out of a dope house.
Right.
But I did not use that to my benefit at all because, I was made too much money selling drugs. But yeah, so after I caught my 10th felony, the guy wore a wire on me. I paid my lawyer a lot of money. I'd always give my lawyer a lot of money. And he'd get me out of prison every time. And the last time he came up with he said, all right. He said, well, you can go to 6-month rehab or you can go to prison for 25 years. I was like, 6-month rehab. Yeah. Google 6-month rehab. Right. Okay. Co-ed. No. Okay. Smoking. Hey, all right, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I found So I found one, and it was the Salvation Army. And I thought these people just sold clothes.
All right.
I didn't know anything about it.
Sure,
I'm like, I thought they just had thrift stores. Come find out, they do a lot of good. They do a lot of good. And there's a lot of good in there. And so when I did that, and I did my 6 months, and I got released. I got released. I got done with the rehab.
Yeah.
So I had an apartment and a job set up, which is something I had never.
Sure.
I mean, I'd owned some places, but I'd bought it with dope money. This was being legit. And so I'd got a job and got an apartment. 2 guys from the rehab graduated with me and moved in with me. And so we had our own like little mini rehab going on. Everything was great.
Yeah.
And, without throwing anybody under the bus, the lady who got me the apartment and the job ends up not doing it legitly. And so the owner finds out that I'm working there, living on property, and he's like, well, you can either quit and have the apartment, or you can move and have the job. And I was like, okay, well, I'll move and have the job.
Right.
The job seems more important. I have other places that I own. So I moved back to one of my old dope houses. All right. And I took some of the guys, I got the guys with me. So I took them with me, and I'm thinking, I haven't been there in months. There's no activity.
It's fine.
Surely it'll be okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't okay. And I wasn't there long. And there was a place I had been going to church when I was in rehab called Destiny Christian. So shout out to Destiny Christian. That is my home church and my church family.
Nice, yeah.
And so I started going there while I was still in rehab. And when they found out that I had moved back to the trailer, they were all like, what is going on? You got to get out. There's like a sober house that's connected to it. And so I'm still there to this day. But, and shout out to Brad and Stacy, because they're the mom and dad of the house. They rock.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, so important.
Yeah. And it's just like, I was a lone wolf for so long, and I'd always prided myself on, since I was 12 years old, doing anything and everything, I could do it myself.
Right.
And I didn't need any help. And there was a couple times in my life that I did reach out for help. One time when I was 30, when I was so strung out on the needle, I was the only time I'd ever asked for help, and I got shunned. And it was just like, yeah, no. I was like, I went to my boss, hey, I need help. I need some rehab. And they were like, you can have 3 weeks off. Go get straight. And that worked. But so
That's
my whole
why you
life.
say lone wolf. I always considered myself really dependent.
Yeah.
Independent. And I look back and I'm like, I depended on drugs. I depended on men. Even though I paid the bills.
Right.
I still depended. I needed something in my life.
But as I came out of rehab, I still had that mentality, like I can do this. It took me like 8 months, and rehab was only 6 months. So it took me like 8 months, 2 months out of rehab, to still grasp some of the things that was instilled in me, because I was still trying to figure this out. I was going to meetings, going to church, doing all the stuff I was doing. And I ended up losing the job. I'd lost the apartment, moved out there, and then ended up losing the job. And I was just like, okay, what's going on? It's like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is happening? And so
You're being redirected.
Exactly.
That's what's going on with me right now. I'm recalculating.
Because I had got the job. I had got the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't rely on God to put me where He wanted me.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the point where I was just like, all right, don't know what to do. Called up the sober house. They were like, you know what? Yeah, they came out there and they grabbed the one guy that was with me. They took him, put him in one of the sober houses from church. Then they waited because I'm a stubborn knucklehead.
Of course.
Yeah, they waited, and it was a couple weeks later. I called them. I was like, all right, guys, can I come? And they were like, yes, you can. And surely enough, I've been there for quite some time now, and it's just a blessing. And the whole church family at Destiny Christian.
Nice.
Is an awesome church family.
Mosaic.
Yeah. So it's just, and I knew nothing about that. Sure. You know, it's crazy. The other day, there was Church of the Broken had a service last 2 Fridays ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
you had Joey on before, I think, haven't you?
Who?
Joey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joey Chapel?
Yeah.
Is that
No, Joey Prayer.
Oh, yes, I've had Joey Prayer. Yeah.
Okay. So I pull up to this church that they're having Church of the Broken at, the last parking space available. And I pull up and I get out of the car and I look over the fence. I'm like, oh my God, I used to sell dope out of that house.
Right? Wow.
Yeah. And now I'm on this side of the fence, going to worship God.
Right.
You know, and it's just amazing how God just is like, you're on the right track, son. You're on the right track, son. Me and Crystal work together now.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Man.
Skyline Urban Ministry, shout out. Okay. Shameless plug.
I was volunteering at Skyline, and I knew the minute I got there, I was like, this is what I want to do. Even though I was trying to do something different, I was trying to open my own business, and I had that all set up, and I totally got sidetracked.
Right.
And I've been there over a year now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But when I got there, God was like, "This is for you."
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot. This is for you.
Sit back and pay attention. Yeah.
Right.
Be direct.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I don't, that's when I get disciplined, kind of. You know, it's time for you to learn some more.
Yeah.
And that's when situations in my life come up.
Yeah.
You know?
That's Nicholas Hoy and Crystal Henry on Rise Above. And Kirsty Phillips joins us from the UK.
All right.
How are you, sister?
Hello.
Hey, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it. I know it's like it's 8 o'clock where you're at.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Well, it's 20 to 9 now.
Okay.
Almost.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well,
don't worry. I've been enjoying listening.
Thank you. Yeah. So let's jump into your story because I saw you post on Facebook, man. I reached out to you and you were super receptive about coming on and just along with the mission and trying to spread hope and everything too. So yeah, you battled.
Yeah, definitely.
You were pretty much riddled with pain, and so that led towards was it opioids?
Yeah, I've got a really, really rare spinal condition that nobody's ever heard of. I made a really ridiculous decision about being a dental nurse and started really struggling with pain. So I went to see my doctor, and I was only 18 at the time, and he just threw pain relief after pain relief after pain relief at me, and opiate-based. So obviously it really didn't take long for me to become quite painfully addicted, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
Which then very quickly spiraled completely out of control. And awful things happened for many years. I don't remember most of my 20s. I stole from people I loved. I mean, in the UK as well, it's really difficult because when you get a prescription off the doctor, even if your prescription runs out like it did for me because I was an addict, you can go into any pharmacy and buy opiate medication over the counter, and nobody bats an eyelid, nobody questions it. So it's really, really easy for that to continue because you can just find a different pharmacy in a different town. It's really, really difficult. So for many years it remained that way until it got, just trying to shorten the story, but until it got that bad that basically nobody wanted me around. I ended up living in a homeless shelter, had nobody basically because people just couldn't deal with me. Thankfully though, there was a few people that loved me enough to kind of help me through it, and my mum had sold her house and she was looking for something spiritual to do for herself. And she told me about ayahuasca. And I'd never even heard of it, so I did some research, and at the time, obviously, I was a full-blown addict, and I was just kind of like, that's really not something that I'm interested in, until I spoke to one of my friends, and they told me that actually ayahuasca, loads of celebrities have done it, not for addiction, but for many different things. So I researched into it more and thought, might be an idea, because I really need some help. And I did a special diet for a few weeks, and we went to Peru and stayed in the Amazon jungle with a shaman. And I did this ayahuasca retreat. We did 8 ceremonies in 2 weeks. Now, ayahuasca is natural DMT, so it is a hallucinogenic drug, basically, but it's completely natural. And it was the most difficult experience I've ever had. I mean, on one occasion, I had a face-to-face conversation with my ego. And then on one night, I had a demon on my back. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but to me, it was the realest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
There was a demon on my back, and it took me down to hell. I had a conversation with it about why it belonged in hell and I didn't, and I was going back up to the light and it needed to stay down there. I started walking away from this demon. It started crying at me and telling me that it needed me, and somehow I found the strength to continue to walk in the other direction. And I don't even know. I came back up to the light anyway, is the best way that I can say it, and by the grace of God, I'm still here.
Right.
Ayahuasca is...
Ayahuasca, is that what you're saying?
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Have you heard of it, Crystal? Yeah. I'd never heard of it until she told me, and I looked it up and everything. But yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you were looking for a spiritual experience and encounter, and when you described it to me, it definitely
helped. To be honest, I tried all of the other ways of getting clean, of getting better, but nothing ever seemed to work for me. So at that point, I was willing to try anything. Didn't really... I mean, I did a lot of research and everything, but I still didn't really understand what it was or what it would be able to do for me until I went there and did it and experienced it. And even now to this day, I mean, I did that in 2015, so we're 4 years later now, and even to this day, there's still things on a daily basis most of the time that I remember that it showed me, and things happen in daily life, and I'll be like, that's what that meant.
Right.
And
wow.
I think that'll always be that way. I think every day there'll be something that happens or something that somebody says, and it might even only be one word, and it'll take me back to my experiences with ayahuasca and show me why that happened at that time and why I was shown that during my journey. Wow. If you've not... I mean, for anybody listening or whatever, if ayahuasca is something that you've not heard of before, I would definitely say do some research on it, because to me it's the most incredible thing in the world, and without it, I wouldn't even be here to have this conversation with you about it now. I mean, I was told that I could, because of my condition, that I wouldn't be able to have children. Not long after I came back from Peru, I was told that I just wouldn't be able to have children because I didn't have the necessary hormones or whatever running through my body. And then 3 months after I came back from Peru, I was pregnant. And my little girl is the most amazing thing in the world. And without ayahuasca, I wouldn't be here, and neither would she. It really, really is an incredible thing. And I didn't know about it. I had no idea about it. I had no idea what it could do or what it was capable of, and it has completely changed my life and completely changed me as a person as well. I mean, there's things now that I would never have even thought about doing before, but I now do.
Now do, yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it's the most incredible thing, and it's a different path. It's really, really difficult. I mean, you have to come face to face with so many different things. I mean, there were things about my childhood that I was shown during my ayahuasca experience that I didn't even know I remembered. I wouldn't have remembered had I not been shown it, but it helped me to understand a lot more about why I was the way I was and why I kept reaching out to the pain relief, and I understand that it's pain relief, and I was taking it for pain relief to begin with,
Right.
but it was an opiate, and it helped me deal with a lot of different things.
Yeah. That's well, it's Kirsty
Go on,
Phillips.
sorry.
No, I say it's Kirsty Phillips joining us from the UK talking about it. Now I'm going to keep getting it wrong.
Ayahuasca,
and you can look it up, and that's the thing though, is it different? There's many different ways about this whole thing. Man.
See, I've done.
I don't know how to spell it.
Sky Ransom from Church Under the Bridge had me go to a deliverance ministry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
It sounds similar to what she's saying, what I experienced at this deliverance ministry. I didn't take anything. I was prayed for.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Hey, we got Kirsty. Let me jump over and get Chris real fast too. But I'm gonna try to branch out. I want to do some video things for the Facebook Live on Rise Above and stuff. So I know that we had sort of just minimal time with you and stuff, but I want to resume this at another time, that more in-depth conversation and stuff. But this is Chris was like, "How'd you get somebody from the UK?" Because then now he's calling again too. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mac, how are you?
Good, good, man.
Good to be there. Hey, you know what? I learned a lot about different spiritual transformations around the world, and what Kirsty's talking about is utilized in many different countries for not just this specific problem that she had, but many other different types of problems. In fact, here's an interesting story. Back in the, I think it was in the 60s or 50s or 60s, Bill Wilson actually experimented with LSD in hopes that he could create a spiritual experience. And he was doing it specifically to see if this type of therapy would help alcoholics recover from alcoholism. And the idea was that they were trying to engage some form of spirituality and to find out that the spiritual realm is really a real place, that it's a place that we all exist in. It's just learning how to tap into it. Some people go to church. Some people, do other things. They have different ceremonies. Some, if you can imagine where a lot of this stuff came from, it came from some very, very ancient tribal traditions. Where you think of witch doctors and medicine men and all these other types of people, shamans. I think in China they had something very similar. I know the Japanese, they have a similar type of therapy. But it's interesting that, we can come all together under one roof and we can talk about these things. Because I was just talking to a friend up in Michigan today, and I was telling him, every single person out there has not only a spiritual being, but has a way out.
Right.
My way might not work for you. I'm a 12-step guy. You know that. Adam, my business partner, he is a therapy CBT guy. It worked for him. He walked into the rooms of AA. Well, the same thing that chased him out was the same thing that chased me out the first time. And that's when I looked up on the walls and saw God.
Right.
And I left AA, the very first meeting I ever went to, and thank God there was an old-timer in there that followed after me and said, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
And he explained to me that this program that we have in the 12 steps is a spiritual program, and it's based on spiritual principles. And yet, when people walk in there, they don't know that. They think that it's some kind of religious cult-type situation. I know people that go to Celebrate Recovery have fantastic lives. I know people that don't even go to either one and have fantastic lives. And in fact, Rich Jones, Recovery Cartel, talking to me a couple of weeks ago, he says, that about 62% of all people that have drugs and drink problems can quit all on their own. They just find an avenue to do it. And many of those go to church. Many of them go to their doctor, and on and on. But there's, today there's just more than one way. We're attacking this thing from all different avenues and all different areas of science and medicine and spirituality, right, and practical knowledge and stuff. Yeah.
Amen, man. Amen. Hey, we gotta take a quick break. Kirsty, thanks for calling in and sharing, sister. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you soon. Chris, same thing, brother. I'll give you a shot in just a little bit. I got the Junior League of Oklahoma City coming in for a quick interview. They got an event coming up tomorrow, so we'll be right back on Rise Above.
KOKC.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the buy one, get one free paint sale at Ace, our biggest paint sale of the year. Buy a gallon of our top paint brands like Valspar and Clark & Kensington and get the second free. And you know what else is free? Our help. With the Ace Extra Mile Promise, get everything you need to paint in one trip or deliveries free. Don't miss the buy one, get one free paint sale. Now through Monday, only at Ace. Limit 2, delivery subject to availability. Visit acehardware.com for more details.
At Mill Creek Carpet and Tile, they believe a healthy family and clean home is everything. They also know that older floors often host pesky germs and allergens, which is why they want to help you take your spring cleaning to the next level with Shaw Luxury Vinyl Plank Floors. Waterproof, scratch-proof, and spring clean-approved flooring, perfect for keeping your home crisp, clean, and beautiful this spring. Visit Mill Creek Carpet and Tile at their Stillwater location for an in-home measure and design consultation on the house.
Star OU running back and NFL player Samaje Perine understands competition and what it takes to be the best. And that's exactly what he found when he shopped at Diamonds Direct, thanks to a recommendation from other NFL players.
I've heard from coaches and players and even peers that Diamonds Direct is the best place to go to if you're looking for a ring. The customer service is bar none. They made it extremely comfortable and extremely simple because I know absolutely nothing about jewelry. They're extremely helpful and they broke things down to the very basic. It made it, enjoyable.
But it wasn't just the experience that impressed Samaje. The no middleman pricing blew him away.
We got a very good bargain for, what we went in for. I feel like we didn't pay him enough, but but I'll take it anytime.
Oh, but he'll be back to spend more and get that unmatched pricing.
Diamonds Direct is going to be in our lives a lot from here on out. If you're a fan of mine and you're looking for an engagement ring for a great value, Diamonds Direct would be the definite place to go.
Diamonds Direct on North Penn across from Penn Square Mall.
All right, 95.3 FM in Oklahoma City, 1520 AM. We're KOKC. This is Rise Above Radio. And what an outstanding show we've had so far. Drew Hicks calling in from Indiana. He's with Boca Recovery. You can look those guys up. You can find Drew on Facebook, DRUHICKS. Kirsty Phillips calling in from the UK. And on Facebook Live, if you go to KOKC Radio on Facebook Live, you can actually see some of the comments that have been left and get a hold of these individuals that are brave enough to come on and share their story. Crystal Henry came in and Nicholas Hoy. You guys will have to come in again, man.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed it, and I know that everybody else listening did as well. And so the Junior League of Oklahoma City, I wanted to get with you guys because I bothered you on Facebook really quickly because you have an event tomorrow where Molly Ringwald's going to be there.
Yes, we do. We're excited to talk about it.
And it's funny because I said, I'll love you forever if you get Molly Ringwald to come and do an interview. But it was funny because that's how we linked up. She couldn't make it. But tell us about the event, though. That's unbelievable. So tomorrow at the Farmers Market, I think it is, right? Junior League of Oklahoma City. What's going on?
Right. So it's Speaker in the City, and this is our 4th annual. So we're bringing in Molly. It'll start at 1 o'clock with cocktails and conversation, and then we will do a conversation with Molly at 2 p.m.
Nice.
We are excited about being at the Farmers Market. It's so her vibe and what we think the environment that will be good for her. We're excited to hear what she has to say.
What is Junior League of Oklahoma City? What are you guys about?
Well, excellent question. Junior League of Oklahoma City is an organization of women whose purpose is to put trained volunteers out in the community. We also put money out in the community, supporting the different projects of the Junior League, whether it's at Boys and Girls Club of Oklahoma City, whether it's Infant Crisis Services. So our goal is to put those trained women out there to volunteer and make an impact on their community. We also put money out into those projects. So that's, in fact, what Molly coming to town is about. This is a fundraiser for the projects of the Junior League of Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. And we got, Harry wrote it, Sarah Frank and Angie Huffaker in here. Huffaker, I think it is, right? Sister, is that what it is? Yeah. With, Junior League of Oklahoma City. And so you guys are all, the way I saw it was on Facebook. You shared the link, and of course, you scroll on Facebook and see Molly Ringwald's photo. I was like, hey. And the reason why I bothered you about, I was teasing, of course, about having her in on the afternoon show because the two guys that I co-host with were all kind of similar, the same age and stuff. It's funny, on Molly's Twitter, it says that your high school crush is what it says about her description and everything, too. It's pretty funny. But what is she going to talk about tomorrow?
Molly's going to talk about we're going to start from her iconic films of the 80s because that's what people do want to hear about.
Yeah.
But, she didn't stop there. She has authored 2 books. She's put out a jazz album. And she's,
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
that's
that.
Her first love is jazz. Apparently, her father was a jazz performer, and she started singing with him as a child.
Right.
So, a very young child. So, that's her first love. But we're also going to have her talk about how she transitioned from being this iconic teen idol in many ways to this professional, dynamic woman that she is today. She's a mom. She's a wife. She is as relevant today, I think, as she has
for sure.
ever been.
Yeah.
Completely.
You know, I love that. One of the things is I had mentioned earlier, and a lot of people that maybe listen to the station and when I'm on and everything, you know, I got 2 daughters, and so I'm very, I have a 7-year-old. I try to show her, like, I buy her the shirt to say, like, women are the revolution and all these things. 'Cause I want to instill in her that she can do whatever it is that she wants to do, man. That, you know, there is a stigma against the sexes. There totally is, right? So I want to make her feel like she's empowered to be able to do whatever it is. When Governor Fallon was still in office, I told her one day, I was eating pizza with the kiddo, and I said, hey, we got Governor Fallon coming in tomorrow. And so I told her it's a lady, and she, it's a girl? I said, yeah, it's a girl, man. So that's really great that you're, you know, helping with, you know, that women and that whole vibe going on.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. And by all accounts, it's going to be a big crowd. Mothers are bringing their daughters. Women are bringing their sisters. Women are bringing their mothers. And
cool.
and
Yeah.
there's going to be some men there, too. Because
Right.
it's pretty
Yeah.
I don't want to leave the guys out. Don't get me wrong in there.
Because it's Molly Ringwald.
Because
Right.
I've had some friends, some guy friends, they go,
Oh, sure.
Molly. You know, the
Yeah.
excitement. You can see it, like you say. 'Cause
Right,
it's
there's
Molly
many
Ringwald.
different. You know, I would just want to ask her, what you see in that guy with the trench coat on at breakfast? Come on, man. You know, that guy. It was the bad boy. Look, Nick, we've been talking about recovering everything. It's the bad boy. Her character in Breakfast Club fell for the bad boy. That was it. Totally, man. Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it's really inspiring. In that time period, she was one of the first female lead actresses.
Yeah.
You know, where movies were developed for her.
Right,
so
right.
she kind of started that trend.
She definitely was, man. I mean, you can go, look on IMDb.com and see all the movies that she was in. But that's a great point because it really was. It started to turn to where that she was definitely the front and center, the star. Yeah. And those, look, man, they're iconic films. The Brat Pack and everything we talk about too. Right. So, but you know what?
I've been wanting to buy one of those packages where you can get all those 80s
yeah.
movies.
Yeah, you can get all
the Brat Pack 2, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah. She is considered part of that Brat Pack.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
for sure. One of the things too is that I loved what you said about how she's more. I don't want to say relevant, but now she's more, successful and popularity, I guess, as she was then too. But she's one, a good example because you don't see that on the front page of tabloids and stuff too. She's not in trouble, and that's another thing with my kiddo, my daughter. It's the women and men for that matter, the celebrities that don't always get in trouble. You're not seeing them in a bad light. Yeah,
Exactly.
So.
And she hopefully will address that as well, because I know that she has discussed that she saw herself to a certain degree as a role model, and she has stayed out of that kind of fray and what that looks like. And interesting talk about being a role model. She'll also talk about at a certain point when she went back and looked at those old 80s movies, those John Hughes films, and sat and watched them with her daughter. She has several children, and her daughter hadn't seen them, and how she realized, oh my gosh, here's what this looks like, and seeing it from a different viewpoint as a mother, and how it really, she's by no means apologetic about the movies that she made, and that would be certainly a little different today.
Sure.
She always gave like the average girl who I was.
Right,
I'm like, look, I can't get the cute guy someday. It's like a hope. I don't know.
Go for
I know. I'm going to be the pretty girl someday.
It's a
boy.
Exactly.
How can people follow you guys on social media and everything, and then get plugged in tomorrow? For
Right, yeah. We're going to be, as I said, starting at 1 o'clock at the Farmers Market. Tickets are $50. VIP tickets are $150. She's going to be doing a book signing.
Nice.
But at the Farmers Market.
You said she'll be talking about a lot of things. Can you get her to talk about me?
Well, I will make sure you're in the know.
Yeah. All right. Sarah and Angie Junior
Plug
League.
it.
Yeah, Sarah Angie Junior League, Oklahoma City. Thanks for coming in. We'll be in touch. You guys have to come with us on the afternoon show sometime too. Appreciate it. Nick, Crystal, thank you again to Kirsty Phillips and Drew Hicks calling in, as well as Chris Freeman. Man, I love doing the show. It's Rise Above Radio. You guys have an awesome weekend.
Thank you.